Steve, you're with Frank now. Let's see what Frank thinks about it.
Yeah, and about 600 Tom Jones fans have made their way north up the M6 to Stoke, so Frank and I can have a conversation and not a screaming match. Frank, relief on Daniel Dubois' face, and I would suggest a little bit of relief with you as well, getting that win.
Yeah, I think as I said, coming into this fight, he was going to have to answer a lot of questions. A lot of things were said after his defeat in the last fight, the way it ended, and he's come in today, and I think, and answered his critics, and he's shown that he's back in it again, and not only is he back in it, he's the WBA interim champion, so he's got his place back at the top table.
And he did look relaxed even before the final punch dropped Big Bogdan. He did look relaxed. He looked calm in there.
Yeah, I mean, I think he did, and it showed in his performance. It was no one's done that to him in a couple of rounds, have they? That was an extremely good win for him, and he done it in great style. And now he's back in it, and he's got to keep now improving and working like he will do.
Shane McGuigan, his new coach, talking about 6 months, but obviously I'm assuming he'll be out before the end of the year.
He should be out before 6 months. Of course he is. You've got to keep busy. That's the name of the game.
Now, the list of fighters that he can fight going forward, I mean, there's a good list of heavyweights out there that might give him the rounds. Solid Americans, one or two of them floating about. Have you got any in your head? I mean, I know you're planning several moves ahead.
His next move is, the winner of this, which is Daniel, has got to now fight for the WBA heavyweight title. That's what it'll be. That's what it is. And Don King's got that fighter. So
Trevor Bryan, the regular WBA version.
That's what we're going to work towards.
So that could be the next fight.
If that's what it is, that's what it is.
There's no fear of Trevor Bryan.
Not for me, there's not. I think, Daniel Dubois is capable. If he's not capable of beating Trevor Bryan, we're all wasting our time. He's more than capable of beating him.
Yeah, that I completely agree with you there. Frank, going forward, Royal Albert Hall, 10th of July, Lyndon Arthur against Anthony Yard. Let me finish the sentence. Not fighting each other, but on the same bill. Good bill.
It is a good bill, and I'll be pleased to be back there. I mean, it's been great tonight, as we mentioned earlier, with the fans, and certainly to be in London again, a historic boxing venue like the Albert Hall, with those two guys on. It's going to be fantastic. And they both are going to be under a lot of pressure to deliver as well, because whatever they win both of them on the night, they then fight each other in autumn.
And Frank, you talk about the fans being back. We've had a fantastic 1,000 in here tonight, probably a capacity of about 3,000. What can we do at the Royal Albert Hall at the moment? As we stand now, how many tickets can you sell? Do you know?
As we stand now, it's 20%, but I'm hoping that's going to change by then. It's up to the government. They're going to make some decisions. I think it's on the 17th of June, and we'll see where we are. The capacity in here is 5,000.
Oh, is it?
It sounded like there was 10 in here.
Oh, it sounded like there was 17 in here. Frank, I've got to mention his name. Joe Joyce beat Daniel last year. Terrific night at the Church House, 28th of November. Now, I'm hearing, you can tell me if I'm on track or off track, I'm hearing a couple of Frenchmen. I'm hearing Carlos Takam, and I'm hearing Tony Yoka, the man that beat Joyce in the Olympic final. Where are we with Joe Joyce going forward?
Well, unfortunately with Joe, I mean, he had a really good win when he beat Daniel, and we're not been able to capitalise it. The only way he's capitalising is being number 2 in the WBO, and he will become the mandatory challenger to the winner of Usyk and AJ if it takes place, providing they can agree terms. If AJ vacates the title, then Usyk will have to fight Joe. But we can't sit around and keep waiting, which we've been doing. So Joe will fight either on the 24th or 31st of July, and those two names are on that list. He needs a big name, he needs to be in with a big name, and he needs to move forward. And he's an exceptional fighter, heavyweight, and obviously he'll be looking tonight at Daniel and think, so, I need to get out, and he wants to be out, and he's been very patient, and we've had to work hard, as I say, to keep that position in the BO. Now he's got to fight, and he will be out next month.
Part of Joe Joyce waiting and not knowing where he was going was because we were all waiting and not knowing where we were going with the other fight, the Fury-AJ fight, which collapsed. Now we've got Fury against Wilder. In the build-up, Frank, to the result, to the hearing, to the result that seemed to shock everybody, how shocked were you?
Well, look, it was always there. I mean, that's why I said until these contracts are signed, we should be talking about it's being announced. And unfortunately, everyone's expectation levels were very high, and they will think that, some people thinking I was being negative. I wasn't being negative. I was being realistic. Until an arbitrator or judge gives his decision, he's going to give it either way. That's what it was about. Or he may have satisfied both parties by allowing the unification to take place and giving some financial compensation to Wilder, but he didn't do that. And I don't think some of the announcements and all what was going on that may have swayed his decision. But the fact of the matter is, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So Tyson's getting on with it. He's not hanging around. They was given until September to put the fight on. It's going on in July. Get it over and done with as soon as possible. Tyson should come through that. I really do fancy him to do the same as he did last time against Wilder. And obviously AJ, if he gets in with Usyk, he's got to win. And then let's get this big fight on that everybody wants to see.
Now, finally, you mentioned there that you fancied Tyson to do what he did last year. Let me ask you this. It's a two-part question, really. Would you have fancied Tyson more last July when the fight was meant to take place against Wilder, the third fight? You know, when it was all signed and sealed in theory for Las Vegas in July? Or do you fancy him more now, or do you fancy him less now?
Look, Tyson can't afford to be complacent. You know, Wilder's he's with a new trainer who's not a tried and tested trainer, by the way. No. He's with a new trainer.
Agreed.
Malik Scott. And I just look at his age and I think to myself, what can he do any different? Can he outbox Tyson? No. Can he outpunch Tyson? He's a very dangerous and big puncher. But Tyson's been on the floor twice in the first fight and got up and came back winning the round in the last in the 12th round. Can he take Tyson's power? No. Tyson stopped him and had him all over the place in the last fight. He can't outbox him. Is he going to turn into a great boxer? I don't know. I don't think so. But he's a dangerous puncher, and Tyson can't afford to be complacent. I think Tyson has got his number. I think he had his number in the first fight when he got robbed, and he certainly proved in the second fight what he was made of. And I really don't see what Deontay, other than getting other than coming out with one of those explosive bombs. Other than that, I don't see how he can beat Tyson.
The only thing I would say is that he can still come out with one of those explosive bombs.
Well, of course he can. You know, that's heavyweight boxing. That's what happens. These guys throw them, and if one lands, it can be all over. But Tyson has taken two of his biggest punches, and that last round, I mean, in the first fight, we all thought it was all right, including me. And how he got up, I'll never know. But he got up. Not only did, as I've just said, he got up, he actually came on strong at him, was winning the end of the round. And the second fight was the 13th round of the first fight, and he just took over. But he's an exceptional heavyweight, and he has been out the ring for a long time. And what we've managed to do between all of us, you know, the various promoters involved, Bob and myself, was to keep him busy. Yeah. And he hasn't been busy, so that's the only thing. But then again, Wilder's not been in since last February either.
So there's some decent unknowns attached, and that makes it entertaining.
There's always an unknown when these big guys get in the ring. They throw bombs. That's what they do, and one of those bombs lands, anything can happen. But you know, I think Tyson is I think he's the best heavyweight out there, and I do believe all day long he has the beating of Deontay Wilder.
All day long. Let's hope so. I hope so. Frank, thank you very much. Back to you, Paulie.